I agree completely. Just the fact that you just said that, and the reports have just come out about the Taliban, us paying the Taliban, and thousands of weapons ending up in Taliban hands, and literally us, I mean, all the pictures that have come out of us guarding the opium trade over there. I mean, it should be enough to make the average American puke. But unfortunately, none of the mainstream news is actually even really covering it that much. They'd rather cover insignificant things, and they do love a good story like Fort Hood to really use it in a way to further propaganda from the Defense Department.
Where does it go from here? Because this is the big problem, is that you've got the military involved in this, and I just don't really see ever getting any answers. He's going to be charged with 13 counts of murder. This is going to happen in a military court where anything he says, such as "I'm a patsy," probably will never be leaked out to the public at large, where they can completely control the aftermath and the trial. Where do we go from here? People who want to get the truth, people who have a right to the truth, including the victims and the victims' families.
I agree completely. I know that it'll be at least a year before, within a year, there'll be some kind of bombshell evidence that comes out. It always happens with these mass shootings. I think people researching the Virginia Tech connection and whether Kathy O'Brien was right with Transformation of America, or what she discussed as Butt Mountain in Access Denied, her first book, follow up with those leads, try and reach out to her. I've reached out to her several times with information, and I get nothing more than a thanks for bringing this to my attention. But, I'm not so sure. I think that there would be some evidence that could be dug up about his days at Virginia Tech and who he studied under and so forth. With like Cho, I mean, Cho went to a school in Chantilly, a private school in Chantilly, where they had a school it wasn't a school shooting, a kid who attacked the police department up there, and I believe was killed in the assault. But, Cho was actually, one of his teachers was the same guy who taught both of these people. Now, I'm not drawing any connection directly to that, but it's an eerie coincidence. And it's just as eerie as finding out that Hassan graduated from Virginia Tech. So, I mean, that is...
But you had trouble, I mean, this is, again, what I heard, and this has been repeated throughout to others in the media, that he was part of the ROTC. You say
yes.
that you cannot verify that. Can you even verify
I can verify
at this point
without
that he
a
went?
doubt. He is not a member of the ROTC and never was.
Can you verify that he even went to Virginia Tech at this point and studied biochemistry or biopsychiatry?
You can, but only through publications. When I called the school, they wouldn't talk. They said that they had given over all the information to the media. That Virginia Tech has officially said that he did graduate. He did come to school in 1992. And you can see his name on some of the various postings for biochemistry, and I think he just had a major in a science degree, and then biochemistry was his minor. But so he definitely was there, but actually finding anybody that knows anything I've run into nothing but brick walls. Nobody can find out anything on the guy from what I've gathered so far.
Kind of like another alleged Muslim, Barry Hussein Obama. No one can find him. No one remembers him at Columbia, including Wayne Allen Root, who, as you know, ran for the Libertarian Party vice presidency. Allegedly has already been promised 2012 to be the nominee. He was in Columbia at the same time Obama was supposed to be there. No one remembers him.
Yeah, you can get public records on all kinds of people who go to school, but you can't on him. But that just goes to show you, Jack, that when they want to seal information, they do a pretty damn good job of it. And the fact that this whole Fort Hood thing is going to take place in a military tribunal or whatever, some military court, means that we're not going to get anything. With Virginia Tech, there was so much evidence in front of everybody that I'm amazed to this day that they haven't really brought out any more about the investigation and why his hard drive was missing. And, there's all these strange things that they claim he did that day that is absolutely impossible.
Yeah, and see, this is always where I go. And people have asked me before, well, what's your main evidence that 9/11 was an inside job? And I answer in the same way if you ask me about the Kennedy assassination, the cover-up. Because if there's nothing wrong, if they're telling us the truth, why are they covering it up? And I really see all the signs and all the fingerprints of an initial and an ongoing cover-up in this Fort Hood shooting as well.
Well, they definitely like to cover their tracks, and there is no more accountability in America.
They're just covering incompetence.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just all multiculturalism that caused this to happen. Of course, that's another lead line from the neocons and the phony right out there, along with we have to get the terrorists, and Obama is soft on Muslims. You hear, I mean, he is a Muslim, so you hear, I mean, all of it just comes right off a script, if you ask me, and it's a little too convenient. But again, I mean, there's the proof. If you began covering up leads, if you began covering up avenues open for general questions into the investigation before we give up our guns and all of our rights thanks to something like this, I think, that is the most telling thing in any certain event. And certainly I thought it was with 9/11. But again, it's just incompetence. It's just multiculturalism. It's just all that's the problem here. And then the Muslimification of America. I love it when people try to spin that one.
Yeah, well, they definitely are laying it on thick, and I'm telling you, Jack, next year is probably going to be even worse than this year for mass shootings, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's a big one, bigger than Virginia Tech in the spring when the fever for those kind of things is really at its highest.
Maybe it's an election year, and sometimes a lot doesn't happen in an election year, but it wouldn't surprise me. In fact, I believe before the beginning of the year, one of the predictions I make at the end of the year, I made a number of them that were pretty accurate, and one of them is a lot more mass shootings, but that's not hard to predict when we pretty much get those every year now.
That is true, but the way that they're handled, and the other thing is the drill aspect that dovetails with it. The other thing I want to say is what the mayor of Chicago is saying, that it's because we're gun-happy country. So, I mean, Jack, as soon as health care gets finished, that will be the next big issue, whether he's going to restrict firearms.
I wanted to ask you about one of those issues about the health care bill. Before I do, any comments about Major Hassan's connection to the Obama administration and to the Department of Homeland Security?
You know what? I don't have any comments about that because I'm not sure. At this point, I'm not sure exactly what all the truth is. I've heard, the reports that he was on the transition team and various things like that. But from my early reporting or digging into that kind of thing is looking like those are more false than anything. What I see as far as Hassan is the fact that he's still alive, and there should be some kind of report of things that he says or from medical people while they're treating him, like the one that supposedly came out today where he's saying, don't send Muslims against Muslims.
Oh, I heard he's not talking.
Plus, the other thing is these people who witnessed this, they will be interviewed to some degree, and if anybody happens to be in that area and has access to Fort Hood, they should go and interview these people. Well,
I mean, look, it's very easy to control the script, even in an uncontrolled situation, such as, again, the Kennedy assassination, where they were telling witnesses what they saw, and where the witnesses that didn't go along with it had a bunch of accidents over the next couple of years. So,
yeah,
this is a military, by the way, that goes out and they will torture a father or a mother, and then if they don't get the answers they want, they'll begin threatening to torture the children. So, we have to keep all of that in mind, don't we?
Absolutely, and this is going to be a closed issue as far as they're concerned. With the Virginia Tech shootings, you had the mainstream media just completely storm Blacksburg and interview everybody so much, and it was all in the early days when it first happened, and you had some people just got out of the hospital who were giving completely different descriptions of the shooter, including height, weight, and complete different outfits, one in a long trench coat and the other one in the little Boy Scout military-type outfit. So I don't think you're going to see that at all with this case because as far as they're concerned, it's over. It's a dead issue. Yeah. Democrats are going to say it's not terrorism. How dare you say that? And the Republicans are going to say this was terrorism on Obama's watch.
We had, back during the Bush years, I was doing an event up in Oklahoma City, and the day I was up there speaking, coincidentally enough, a guy had strapped a bomb to him in front of Oklahoma University and blown himself up. He was a Muslim and had left all kinds of, threats, and it never even got reported.
Amazing.
It makes you think that, there really are some lunatic terrorists out there, and when it doesn't go as planned, when it's not under the watchful, all-seeing eye of the controllers, they're just going to pretend it didn't even happen.
They just bury it.
Yeah, well, that's what it looked like in that.